Let's make sure history never forgets. The name. Enterprise. Got out.
Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and we got a Star Trek story to look at today. This is from Giant Freaking Robot. You may have guessed from the intro there. We've got to Picard talking about the Enterprise. This is an article, sort of, about the Enterprise. So let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it. There we go. It's not there, is it? Why is it not appearing? Oh, see, we're having problems already. Look. Let's try again. There we go. Why did that happen? I have no idea. That was strange. Right, here we go. It's from Giant Freaking Robot. As usual, links in the description down below. And don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Make sure you are still subscribed because YouTube seems to unsubscribe people randomly. It did it to me. And so just make sure you're still subscribed. The numbers are going up slowly. A few more would be nice. I'm also on Rumble and Spotify and Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. How many times have I said these words and I still can't bloody remember them? You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Links for those are in the description, as are the links to my 2 books. Silent Predator, Light-Hearted, a short horror novella about big cats running around in North Yorkshire eating people, and Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action-adventure about UFOs and stuff. It's all a bit of fun. It's on Amazon, Kindle and paperback and stuff like that. Right, here we go. A visual history of Star Trek's Enterprise, every version, every letter A to J. I've looked at this and they're wrong. There's not every Enterprise, but I'll show you the rest. I've probably missed some out myself, but anyway. How many ships in Star Trek are named Enterprise? More than you think. Every version, every letter, every type of Enterprise named. Right, off we go. First one of my faves, I must admit. It's probably my second favourite, after the Enterprise D. The NX-01 Enterprise. Though not the first Enterprise to appear on screen, the NX-01 Enterprise is the first starship to bear that name chronologically. Technically not. She's the hero ship of the series Star Trek Enterprise and the first of her class. The first Warp 5 class starship. And I didn't like that they called it the NX class. They could have given it another... It could have been the Enterprise. It should have been the Enterprise class, shouldn't it? Because she's the first. So it should have been the Enterprise class, really. But never mind. So there we go. So that's that one. I've got some others to do at the end. We'll go through what Giant Freaking Robot are showing us, and then I'll show the others that they're kind of missed out. Although technically, whatever. But anyway. Right, next up, Captain Pike's NCC 1701 Enterprise. The Enterprise, and there it is, from Strange New Worlds, obviously. The Enterprise... Oh, you can't read that, can you? I tell you. I should really move myself, shouldn't I, so you can read the... Oh, whatever. The Enterprise was given a visual reboot by the series Star Trek Discovery. That version of the ship continues on in the series Star Trek Strange New Worlds. There she's captained by Christopher Pike, one of the captains in charge of her before the days of Captain Kirk. And, like I say, it is a nice design, but it's not the proper design, is it? I mean, I do like it. It's a nice-looking ship, and I like what they've done. It's actually reminiscent of the NX-01, the design of the warp nacelles and the Bussard collectors, and the struts, the nacelle struts. But it's not Kirk's Enterprise, is it? It's not the one from the original series. I'm hoping, because we saw an original series Constitution class in Star Trek Picard Season 3 at the Fleet Museum, and hoping this version gets a refit before Kirk takes command. When they finish off Strange New Worlds, whenever that will be. I hope that one of the final shots we see is the not original, because that'll be the original, but the Kirk's Constitution class coming out of space dock. Anyway, so that's that one. Next. Here we go. The original NCC 1701 Enterprise. No, there we go. No bloody A, B, C, I can't roll my R's. D. This is the first Enterprise we ever see. Introduced in the original 60s Star Trek television series, Captain Kirk is in charge on this ship in the 60s series, but before him there were others. Yes, there was Captain Pike, who we saw in The Cage. Don't talk about that to Robert Marbinet. He says, it's the menagerie, it's a two-parter. He gets very irate about the original series. It actually does my head in. I like Robert Marbinet, but he gets a bit pissy about the original series. He's very, I don't know, snobby. Yeah, he is. He's snobby about the original series. I love The Cage, and I think it fits into the, pretty much, into the canon of the original series. They say, but it were a cancelled pilot. It wasn't meant to be seen like that. I don't care, Robert. It fits. I got angry then. But anyway, there it is. Obviously, remember, there were different designs. What we're seeing there is the Bussard collectors, where we see the lights spinning round. There were another version that were like a solid one that had something sticking out of it, like an antenna sticking out of it. That might have been in The Cage. I can't remember. But they seem to swap and change sometimes. I think it were when they remastered them. I think I hope they did anyway. They rectified all that. There were different designs for the end of the other end of the warp nacelles as well. Some of them had a curved in with like holes in, and others had a round bit in it. That's the technical terms. But anyway, so there she is in all her glory. She was the first. Yes, Captain Pike came before Captain Kirk, and obviously before Captain Pike, there was Captain Robert April in 2245 when she was first launched. The old girl, here we go. God, I hate this thing. Alternate universe version of the Enterprise. The 2009 Star Trek movie introduces an alternate universe where we get a totally different version of the Enterprise. It has bigger engines and an overall changed design. It was huge. The ship appears in the 2009 Star Trek movie as well as its sequels. Actually, I think they did change them. Star Trek Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond, where it is destroyed. But I think there were differences. I think they said it had refits and stuff between films. Personally, I think they just changed stuff just because they could and they wanted to, because they didn't care about canon. But it's a hideous ship. It's awful. I mean, the saucer section looks okay, I suppose, but the rest of it is bloody terrible. And the cells are too close together. Look, it's just ugly. It is ugly. And here we go, one of the best. NCC 1701 Enterprise gets a refit. There she is in space dock. It's the same Enterprise from the original series, just upgraded for the movie era of the franchise. The Enterprise refit first appears in Star Trek The Motion Picture, and there she is when Admiral Kirk, gets a tour of the ship via shuttle. Is it? It's not a shuttle, is it? It's called something else, isn't it? It's not a work bee. It's like in between, isn't it? Shuttle pod, I suppose you'd say. Gets taken over by shuttle pod, piloted by Commander Montgomery Scott, the chief engineer. But yes, it's a gorgeous ship. It looks amazing from every angle, which you can't say about a lot of the designs of the Enterprise and other starships. But the Enterprise refit from the movie does look amazing from every angle. The only thing I didn't really like was they changed the Bussard collectors. They took away the red, and they were just matched the rest of the hull, which was a shame. But anyway, refit survives 3 Star Trek movies. The refit Enterprise goes on to appear in Star Trek The Motion Picture, Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek III The Search for Spock. Yes, it does, and they actually reused a lot of the shots from the motion picture. But here we go. The refit Enterprise is utterly destroyed. To save his crew from Klingons, Admiral Kirk initiates a self-destruct of the Enterprise over the Genesis planet. The ship is utterly destroyed. It starts blowing up from the bridge, oddly. I don't know why. You'd think the self-destruct, you'd think had happened from engineering, wouldn't you? You'd think, they just the antimatter had just been mixed, wildly, and it just blow up from engineering, wouldn't you? But no, it blows up. The saucer section blows up first, and then it falls into the planet's atmosphere. And it was a shocking scene. It was really shocking at the time. I remember being very upset at the time. They've blown up the Enterprise. Yeah. Computer destruct sequence 1, code 1, 1A, and all that. Right, next. The NCC 1701A Enterprise, which we saw at the end of Star Trek 4, but there she is in space dock. In recognition of Captain Kirk and his crew's service to the Federation and planet Earth, saved it, the USS Yorktown is renamed Enterprise in honour of the previously destroyed ship. There's some debate about that. It's not really canon. I think it's still open for debate whether it was the Yorktown. A lot of people say it was. Some people say it were a new ship that were going to be called something else, but they gave it the name Enterprise. Anyway, she's given the A designation to show she's not the same ship. Because the Yorktown were damaged by the whale probe. The captain said, our engineer is trying to deploy a solar sail to give him power. So she was damaged by the whale probe, which may answer why the ship isn't working very well in Star Trek 5. But anyway, there we go. Anyway, the Enterprise A gets 3 movies after appearing at the end of Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. The Enterprise A goes on to appear in 2 more movies. Those are Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier, where she travels to the centre of the galaxy in no time at all, and has like 70-odd decks. And Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, which is ace. At the end of Star Trek 6, she sails off into retirement. Yes, she's heading off for... to be decommissioned. So we're going to be decommissioned in Star Trek 3. Remember the Admiral says that, Jim, the Enterprise is 20 years old. But she wasn't at the time. She was like 40 years old. But Kirk obviously steals the Enterprise to go save Spock. Right, one final appearance by the A. After decades after her sunset in Star Trek 6, the Enterprise A appears one more time as part of a fleet museum in Season 3 of Star Trek Picard. Yes, there we saw with NCC 1701A at the Fleet Museum at Athen Prime, overseen by Geordie LaForge. But there she is, saved for posterity, so she wasn't destroyed or anything like that, or, scuttled or whatever, or taken apart. She was saved for the Fleet Museum, which is amazing and cool. Look at that is hideous. Alternate Universe Enterprise A. In the alternate universe introduced in the 2009 Star Trek movie, there's also an Enterprise A. It's slightly different than the version of the ship previously used in that alternate reality. The ship only appears at the end of Star Trek Beyond, and it's fucking hideous. I'm sorry I'm swearing, but look at it. It's awful. Look at that. It's disgusting. Whoever designed that wants a slap. I'm sorry, I'm not into violence, but that is bloody awful. Look at it. Look at the size of that text as well. Every part of it is ugly. They've even ruined the saucer section. Look, they've ruined it. It's awful. Get off my screen. The NCC 1701B Enterprise. Enterprise B is an Excelsior-class starship with a man named Captain John Harriman, in charge. Her only appearance is in the opening minutes of Star Trek Generations, where unfortunately most of her important components are not due to be installed until Tuesday. Which was only on like a shakedown cruise, wasn't she? But there she is, getting caught up in the Nexus, and obviously it's like an Excelsior-class variant, because it's got these different parts around the main deflector dish. But it gets hit, and Kirk is presumed dead, but he's actually taken into the Nexus. NCC 1701C Enterprise. The Enterprise C only appears in a single episode of Star Trek The Next Generation called Yesterday's Enterprise. By the way, this is an Ambassador-class starship. where were we? She's flung forward in time and must choose to go back in time and face certain destruction. The ship is destroyed, defending a Klingon outpost from Romulan attackers. And in the the proper timeline where she was destroyed, they impressed the Klingon so much that it led to a lasting peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. Obviously, the Khitomer Accords must have been getting a bit frayed at the time, but it led to a lasting peace between the Klingon Empire and the United Federation of Planets. Her sacrifice, and it actually took a long time. I mean, like 27 years, over 20 years anyway, between that being destroyed and the Enterprise D coming along. So crikey. So the Federation Starfleet went over 20 years without a ship called Enterprise. Right, the Enterprise D. The Enterprise D is the hero ship of Star Trek The Next Generation's TV series. It also appeared in one of that crew's movies, Star Trek Generations, where it was destroyed at Veridian 3. Sorry, I've got something stuck in my teeth. There she is, Galaxy-class starship, huge ship with a crew of over 1,000. We saw again in Star Trek Picard, yeah. Here she is. The Enterprise D crashes. Oh, here we go. In the movie Star Trek Generations, the Enterprise D's drive section is destroyed and the saucer separates from the drive section. Crash lands on a planet, Veridian 3, which is then destroyed by Soren, and he launches a probe, a thing, into the trilithium device into Veridian 3's sun, and that destroys that sun, and then the shockwave destroys the planet. But Picard and Captain Kirk save the day and, reverse the effects, because the Nexus is like a timeless place, so you can go to any time and place. Here we go, the Enterprise D restored. And there it is, coming out of Bay 12. Bay 12, please. And at the Athen Prime Fleet Museum. The Enterprise D was presumed destroyed after the events of Star Trek Generations, but decades later the ship returned in Season 3 of Star Trek Picard after being restored by Commodore Geordie LaForge. To do it, he spliced together the drive section from a ship called the Syracuse and paired it with the restored Enterprise D saucer section. She now rests comfortably alongside the Enterprise A in Starfleet's Fleet Museum. Yes, at Athen Prime. The Syracuse, well, obviously a Galaxy-class starship that maybe were never finished, I don't know, but Geordie claimed the drive section from that. Obviously called the Syracuse because Terry Metalis, I think, is from Syracuse in New Jersey. We also saw a Constitution class called the New Jersey at the Fleet Museum. But there she is, back again, the old girl. And I'm sure when you watch it, have a good look at the front edge of the saucer section. There seems to be damage from when she crashed. It's like marks, as though it didn't quite clean it off properly. Or it could be just the lighting, I don't know. Here we go, then. NCC 1701E, Enterprise Sovereign class. The Enterprise E makes its first appearance in the movie Star Trek First Contact and sails through 2 more movies after that in Star Trek Insurrection and Star Trek Nemesis, where it gets crashed with Deanna Troi driving again. They crash it into Shinzon's ship, the Scimitar. But it's not destroyed. It is repaired and continues on. Here we see the Enterprise E in animation. There you just see that's its warp nacelle. You see it there. NCC 1701E. The Enterprise E would go on to make a very brief blink and you'll miss it cameo. Excuse me. In the animated series Star Trek Prodigy. In that, I forgot what they call it now. Like an alien device from the future that infected all the other starships and made them fire on each other. Yeah. So, a good Prodigy. I enjoyed Prodigy. Well worth a look. And the final fate of the Enterprise E. There's Worf, Captain Worf. Little is known about the final fate of the Enterprise E. We do know that at some point Worf becomes her captain, and we know that he does something to the ship which either destroys it or in some way permanently incapacitates it. What exactly happened is for now a mystery, because he said that was not my fault. That's what he said in a Yorkshire accent. The NCC 1701F. The Enterprise F makes a very brief appearance in the final season of Star Trek Picard, when we learn she's been damaged in some way and is now being decommissioned. I didn't know she'd been damaged. I thought she was just being decommissioned. Before that happens, because I think she's a few years old at this point, probably, I don't know. Before that happens, she's involved in a massive battle around Earth, and it's possible, though not certain, that she may have been destroyed. I don't know. I don't think she was destroyed. But she was being decommissioned anyway. It's an Odyssey class. First appeared in Star Trek Online. I think it was designed by a fan. They had a competition to design a starship, to design the Enterprise F. And this design won with its twin neck, which is a cool design. NCC 1701G, here we go. The Enterprise G is introduced in the final episode of Star Trek Picard, originally named the USS Titan. The ship, is renamed in recognition of Picard and his crew's role in saving Earth. Her first captain under the new name ends up being Star Trek Voyager 7 of 9. As I said during my review of Star Trek Picard, I'm a bit torn with them taking the name the Titan. Because the Titan was an honoured ship in its own right. It got an A suffix. So they shouldn't have renamed the Titan the Enterprise, in my opinion. They should have given them a new ship. They could have, a new. They should have. They shouldn't have. No. See, I'm getting tongue-tied now. They shouldn't have renamed the Titan the Enterprise. There should have been a new ship, a big one, a really, a proper, that could have been the flagship for the Enterprise G. The next iteration of Starfleet's, huge vessels. But anyway, they didn't, but they've done that, so that's canon now. The Enterprise G is a Neo Constitution class. Was the Titan. Oh dear, never mind. Are there any more letters? We know the Enterprise name goes on after the Enterprise G. The Enterprise J makes a brief appearance in the series Star Trek Enterprise, when Captain Archer jumps into the far off future. Nothing at all is known about H or the I, and there's crewman Daniels, who takes Captain Archer forward in the 26th century, I think. And there we see then on the Enterprise J, with a slightly Cardassian design to it. I don't know, but it's not an attractive ship, is it? I've got to be honest. It's an ugly bugger, but there you go. And they go, where will the Enterprise appear next? There we see the Enterprise D and the G, the Titan at the time. For now, the Enterprise G is the ship carrying the name in canon. Whether we'll see her again likely depends on whether or not CBS gives Captain Seven her own television show. Fingers crossed. Hashtag Star Trek Legacy. Hashtag Terry Trek. Hopefully that happens. But that's the end of that. They haven't shown every ship called Enterprise on screen, have they? There you go. Because, hang on, I have to move that over a touch. Where are we? There you go. Because remember in Star Trek the Motion Picture, on the recreation deck, Will Deckard was showing the ILEA robot thing, ILEA probe from Vija. All the ships that were called Enterprise before the current one, before the one that we're on. It doesn't have the NXO one, obviously. But it has a sailing ship, it has a nuclear aircraft carrier, which we're going to get to these, don't worry. The space shuttle, a ring ship called the Enterprise XCV-330. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And, of course, the one that they're on, the Enterprise. Constitution class. But I hope I've got these in order now. Yes, I have. There we go. Probably not the one that they're looking at on the Enterprise, the Constitution class Enterprise, but we see the Enterprise, HMS Enterprise in Star Trek Generations when Worf is promoted. You can't see him there. Hang on, where is he? There he is. He's promoted to Lieutenant Commander, and he's got to get his badge of office, the hat. There. Oh, hang on. Where are we? There we go. To get his badge of office, which is hanging there, his hat, from the plank, and he does it. But then they're on the holodeck, by the way, on the Enterprise D, and Riker says, "Remove plank," and the computer makes the plank disappear, and Worf falls in the water, and everybody has fun. Next up, we see is not that one, it's that one. The American aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise. Don't ask me what its thing is. Is it NCV? I don't know what they are. But we see that in Star Trek 4, but in reality, this is actually the USS Ranger. But there is a USS Enterprise nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. That's what this is supposed to be in Star Trek 4. So there you go. That's that one. Then we go to the Space Shuttle, Space Shuttle Enterprise. There it is. With its protective cover over its engines, but there were a fan campaign to get the America's first space shuttle called Enterprise, which they did, and it's actually a shame because this one never went into space. It was a test bed. And it never went into space. It flew on the back of a 747 and was released and glided down to test its gliding capabilities, but it never actually went into space, which is a shame. Then what? Then we get to this one, the ring ship XCV 330. There you go. It's not particularly handsome, is it? But anyway, there's some information about it here at Memory Beta, or Beta, if you want to pronounce it. USS Enterprise. Is it the USS or is it previously the UESP Enterprise? That'd be what was it? United Earth Space Probe Agency, wasn't it? And also the SS Enterprise was the first spacecraft named Enterprise to be designated a starship. There you go. The UESP Enterprise was originally built as a starliner, a manned interstellar probe by the United Earth Space Probe Agency in the mid to late 21st century. As one of Earth's earliest attempts at interstellar travel, it was the only one of its class to reach its destination of Alpha Centauri. All the rest were overtaken by recently developed faster-than-light spaceships. The Enterprise detected radio transmissions from that star system in 2039. No, not long now. Confirming the existence of intelligent life forms there. However, physical contact between Terrans and Centaurians did not occur until the UNSS Icarus visited the system in 2048. So there you go. And then there's some more information. That's at Memory Beta. I'll put the link in the description. Don't worry. So there you go. So there are the other ships called Enterprise that we saw on screen. I could have missed some. I don't know. I could have missed some. But I just thought it was nice to have a look. But we've got the G now, and hopefully there is going to be another series, Star Trek Legacy. There does seem to be some momentum building. I think we're going to get it. I think Paramount and CBS, I think they're going to go for it. And I think we'll learn something soon. Hopefully. Either a series or a movie. It'd be fun. Either or. It'd be fun, but I prefer a series. But right, we'll leave that there. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.